Hi all. Today we're going to talk about IPSec Lan-to-Lan tunnels between two ASAs. We're going to build these tunnels. I'm just going to touch briefly on some key points while we're building the tunnels themselves. I'm going to spend most of the time at the end concentrating on different ways to secure what traffic is allowed to get off and onto the tunnel and therefore in and out of your network. But I'm not going to get into major detail on IPSec itself, about the details of the encryption and the hash and stuff. You can research that one, or if you really have an interest, let me know. Just drop me a note on YouTube and maybe I can do up a video on that for you. So again, we're just going to quickly configure a couple of tunnels and spend most of our time talking about how to secure the tunnels, the traffic coming off and onto those tunnels, right? So our topology here, we've got two sites, a site with 10.10.10/24, a site with 20.20.20/24. We're going to build our tunnels between these two firewalls here. I've got them on these two console windows down here, and our goal is to get connectivity from PC1 to PC2 and back, but we want to be able to restrict what access they can actually have to each other over the tunnel, and that's what we're going to focus on in the end, right? So let's get to it here. First thing we need to do is build an access list. They call this the crypto access list because this access list is bound to the phase 2 of your tunnel by a crypto statement, crypto map statement. And this ACL is what actually creates your phase 2 SAs, right? The security associations. And with this ACL, you don't want to get too specific with port numbers and stuff like that. Say TCP equal to 80 or something like that. That's what we're going to talk about at the end, how to secure the tunnel up like that. For your phase 2 SAs, you want this stuff to be built pretty quick. So just use full IP. It doesn't matter if you go subnet to subnet or host to host or whatever it is. Just don't get too specific with the port numbers and stuff. In fact, I think if you do that, if you make one with port numbers and all, later when you go to apply it to the crypto map, it's probably going to give you a warning saying this is not a good idea. So we're just going to build full IP, and we're going to build host to host. We don't need subnet to subnet because we've only got one host in each subnet, right? So, it's okay to do subnet to subnet and all that stuff, but if you need that, subnet to talk to a subnet, but we're just going to do host to host. So we'll call the access list site 2 because I guess this is site 1, so that'll be site 2. So we know, hey, it's going to site 2. If you got a lot of tunnels, probably want to name the ACLs to, that'll make it easy for you to understand later. Site 2 will permit IP from host. You want to put your near side first always. It'll build two SAs, one for each direction because SAs are unidirectional, but you only need one ACL statement. You don't have to put the other direction in, and always put your local side first. So we've got our PC1 and then PC2 host. We need to build a no-NAT statement as well. You see a lot of firewalls will have something like this, NAT inside 1, global outside 1. We don't want to put our NATed IPs on the tunnel, so we need to do NAT exemption. If you're not sure what NAT exemption is, have a look at one of my previous labs. I think I've got Cisco ASA Basics. There's one of the labs there is about NAT exemption. That's what we're going to do now. So we're going to build an access list for NAT exemption, and we want to exempt everything that's going on the tunnel. So we're just going to build it identical to what's in our Site 2 ACL, but we're going to call it no-NAT. Access list no-NAT permit IP from host 10.10.10, oops. 10.10.10 to host 20.20.20.10, and then we're going to apply that again. NAT exemption you do with a NAT inside statement, and it's 0. Access list no NAT. So NAT exemption is done. Now we can build our transform set. So crypto. There's a lot of typing to do. Like there's going to be transform dash set, right? You can just tab your way through it because there's just too much typing to do, over and over again. But anyway, we're going to call our transform set secure, and this is to say what our phase 2 hash and encryption will be. We're going to use ESP AES 256 for encryption. We're going to use ESP SHA HMAC for our hash. Wow, got through that without tabbing, pretty good. We'll build our crypto maps now. So crypto map, doesn't matter what you call the name, my map I suppose is good enough. We'll give it sequence 10. Each crypto map set will have a number, and they go like the lowest number should be your crypto map that gets matched most, because it'll want it to be hit first. If someone barely uses the crypto map, the tunnel comes up once a month to do some transfers, make that your lowest, crypto map, maybe 100 or something, or 900, because you don't need it to be negotiating, really fast. There's the one, or it's not going to be used that often, I should say, right? So the ones that are used most often, put at the top, and then you put in the you match address. You put in the ACL that we created. So we called it site 2. So again, that's why they call it a crypto ACL, because this is where it's bound to the crypto map, right? You can up arrow and just do some backspaces because you got to do a couple of set commands. So we'll do a set peer, and this is where you what happened? Oh, get rid of the match. Sorry. We'll do a set, peer, and then the peer IP of the firewall you're making the tunnel to, right? And then we'll do a set transform set secure, because that's the transform set name we gave to AES 256 and SHA for hash, right? There's a couple of other things you could put in, but we'll leave them at default, like lifetimes and stuff. They're already in there. We'll just leave them. They're good enough. We can now build our crypto ISA policies. Before we build a policy, though, we'll just say identity address. Just means use the IP says for identities. This is the we're going to point to this IP, and that's fine with them. We're not going to use names or anything like that. You can use a name. I think if you do that, you need digital certificates and stuff. Now we'll build our crypto ISACAM policy. Again, you use sequence number. We'll make this one 10. Same thing. It doesn't have to be 10. You don't have to match the crypto policy. It doesn't matter. We'll just make it 10. We'll make authentication pre-shared key, right? That's saying our authentication is going to be via pre-shared key as opposed to digital certificates. We'll make our authentication AES 256 again, and I didn't like something. What didn't I like? Oh, sorry. Authentication pre-share. Our we want to do our encryption. 256 AES 256. Yeah, and then we want to do our hash for authentication. SHA. Okay, and again, there's a couple of other bits in there that are that defaults will do, timers and stuff. We won't worry about those. We need to build a tunnel group now. Tunnel group, and in here for sure you have to use the IP unless you're using digital certificates. So we're going to put the IP, and our type is IPSec Lan-to-Lan tunnel, right? And then we're going to do our IPSec attributes. We'll go into the attributes, and here's where we're going to say our pre-shared key, and we'll just call it PSK123. Obviously don't use that, it's not the best key, but it's a key, right? And the last thing we need to do is apply the crypto and the ISACAM to the interface, and we're going to put it on the we'll call it my map. We're going to bind it to the interface outside, and then crypto ISACAM enable outside. Okay, that's essentially it. So I'm going to have to build firewall 2. There's no point in sitting and watching. It's going to be identical, other than my crypto ACLs will have the 20-20-20 host first and then the 10-10-10 host. Everything else has to match your pre-shared key, your hash, your encryption. I'm going to go ahead and do that offline because it's probably getting pretty close to 10 minutes right now, so the length of a YouTube video. And then when we come back, we'll talk about, we'll do a little bit of testing, make sure the tunnel's up, and we'll talk about different ways to secure the traffic that gets off and on the tunnel. Okay, see you in the next vid.